You're riding morning shotgun with the Armchair Quarterbacks. We're here weekdays on WAOC 96.5 FM, 1420 AM, and streaming on the Armchair Quarterbacks app. Download it today. Your first choice for sports talk here on the First Coast.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on CBS Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
For the first time in 39 years, the Boston Bruins have won the Stanley Cup. Out of the zone, the Colorado Avalanche have won the Stanley Cup. Raymond Moore, a dream has come true. They score with 28.8 seconds left. The Leafs have tied the game. McCarty draws. McCarty in. McCarty scores! A magnificent goal! Darren McCarty!
Armchair Quarterbacks Radio, covering the NHL like no other.
Going on here, guys?
All right, coach. So basically, it was a holding call. But these dudes started me in their fantasy league, which is cool because this dude started our quarterback, but he started our kicker and I started their defense. So it's kind of a pickle.
Compromising the integrity of this game with your fantasy football leagues? Listen to me. If there was holding, you make that holding call. I don't care if it was on our team or not. I care about this game too much to let you.
Coach, you started their defense too, didn't you?
Yeah, you definitely started their defense.
Damn right I did.
Armchair.
If only the world was less like this.
I could use a smoke.
Hey, put that out.
And more like this.
I could use a smoke.
You murderer! I might have children one day.
Smoking kills unless you kill first. If you're around a smoker, you will die. Smokers may look relaxed and like they're having fun. Don't believe it. Vote yes on Proposition 421. Let's outlaw smoking everywhere, even in people's homes, and allow honest citizens to legally kill anyone who smokes. Let's live in a world without smokers. Prohibition works. Let's prove it. Vote yes on Proposition 421.
Armchair.
Let's face it, where you're betting is just as important as who you're betting on. That's why I go to mybookie.ag. It's fast, it's easy, and they pay you when you win. Look, I wouldn't be telling you to bet mybookie.ag if they weren't the best. Do the smart thing. If you're going to bet this football season, bet with mybookie.ag. Promo code SKIN, that's SKIN. When you use that promo code, MyBookie will match 100% of your deposit up to $1,000. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SKIN.
Why are you the way that you are? Honestly, every time I try to do something fun or exciting, you make it not that way. I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and flat out deceived.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
Make sure to listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks. Good enough for us down here in the bayou. Go Tigers and the Armchair Quarterbacks.
It's morning.
Yes, and what a lovely morning. Good morning.
Good morning. We've talked the whole night through.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You know, I was thinking we should start referring to your age as levels. Like I'm level 22. Like, how cool is that?
My son died at level 4.
Noob.
Armchair.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks, CBS Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good morning. and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. What is new? What is new? Oh yeah! A panel of jurors found former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin guilty Tuesday on 3 charges in connection in the May 2020 death of George Floyd. Chauvin, 45 years old, was charged with second-degree unintentional murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter. With Americans on edge and the sports world paying attention, we figured we had to at least give you an update in case you were under some kind of rock. Derek Chauvin's sentencing will take place in about 8 weeks, according to the judge. He could be sent to prison for decades. It appears now that the Super League could be dead. Manchester City, Liverpool, Man U, Arsenal, and Tottenham will all begin the process of pulling out of the proposed European Super League the clubs announced on Tuesday. Chelsea is also expected to exit the proposed league, sources have confirmed. The reversal is a stunning U-turn for the EPL clubs after Sunday's announcement that they were among 12 European teams looking to break away from UEFA. The once bright-looking Super League was planning on somewhere between 15 and 18 European leagues throughout the continent. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, after re-signing all 22 starters on offense and defense from their Super Bowl champion team, have finally got a backup quarterback. It's Ryan Griffin. He returns. Griffin was the number 3 quarterback on the roster last year behind Blaine Gabbert. Griffin, 31 years old, will enter 7th year with the Buccaneers and second backing up Tom Brady. Griffin famously whisked away Brady in front of cameras after the Super Bowl boat parade, a moment that went viral on social media, and something Brady chalked up to just a little avocado tequila. Blaine Gabbert remains unsigned, so it looks like that Griffin is first man up to be the designated driver come mid-February next year. Your fantasy football teams are now safe, as former Washington Redskin and former Washington football team tight end Jordan Reed says he's retiring from the National Football League. Quote, "I was pretty sure I was going to keep playing. I was feeling good about where I was at," Reed said, and then added, "But then I had some lingering effects and sought professional help to get diagnosed. They told me it was not a good idea for me to keep playing. I agreed with them." Well, no duh! This is like the 73rd concussion this guy's had in 5 or 6 seasons. Reed, 30 years old, has played 7 seasons with Washington and San Francisco, catching 355 passes, 28 touchdowns. He played 10 games with the 49ers last year with 26 catches. To note, he has also cost hundreds of fantasy football teams thousands of losses over the years. And former Michigan quarterback Joe Milton has officially planned to transfer to the University of Tennessee. Milton entered the draft transfer portal in February and is scheduled to graduate in May, which would make him eligible to play for the Volunteers immediately this season. The Vols are looking for a starting quarterback as they transition with first-year head coach Josh Heupel from Central Florida. In 5 starts in 2020, Milton passed for 1,077 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for more of the Armchair Quarterbacks radio show and YouTube Live. Please like, subscribe, and share our show today. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for sports talk live from the First Coast. Good morning. It's time to wake up, y'all. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Show. We're here weekdays on CBS Radio, YouTube Live, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. The Armchair Quarterback Show, your first choice for Southern sports talk. Good morning, Mr. Justin Waller.
Good morning. I don't know much, but I know one thing. I sure hope the Atlanta Braves bullpen is picking up the dime for Charlie Morton the rest of this New York trip. A walk and a wild pitch. Way to blow a game.
Hi, I'm Mac McGinn. I don't know much, but I know one thing. I have the MLB The Show 21. I finally got it downloaded, and the season started at 6 p.m. Eastern. By 6:05 p.m. Eastern, Luke Jackson, Josh Tomlin, Kipnis, and I'm forgetting somebody. They're all off the damn team. And this is before I even watched the end of the game. Oh, that's right. Nate Jones was the other guy that I traded away. That's right. I was like, and some of them I just dropped. Thanks for Casey Mize, by the way, Detroit. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks.
So listen, I got to be honest. We sort of have another reason for asking you here.
We want to have a baby, but we can't do it on our own.
It could be because of a game me and my frat brothers used to play where we kicked each other in the balls over and over. But the doc says there's no telling.
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man.
Hey, howdy, hi, top of the morning to you. Welcome to the Armchair Quarterback Radio Show. I'm Mac McGee sitting alongside Justin Waller, and it's Sean O'Toole Wednesday. Sean, how the hell are you, sir?
I'm perfect, and I didn't jump in fast enough to do I don't know much because my new phone messed up my microphone. Sorry about that. If y'all heard me say goodbye or have a good day to my daughter.
Yeah, but, we're at a 5-minute discussion on who is actually called Schmoopy. Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing about last night. I didn't think I'd ever say this, but Luke Jackson is no longer my least favorite Atlanta Brave. Nate Jones, come on down. This guy drives me nuts. I can't stand him.
I don't understand, Justin, why in the hell he made the roster. I mean, look, I know you don't like his delivery, and I don't really care about a delivery if the results are there. But this guy is just garbage. I don't understand.
His results look like his delivery.
Oh. You know, and I went back and looked at his stats. I was like, I feel like I know who he is. I feel like I've seen him around with the White Sox and whatnot. And I was right. His numbers are not spectacular in any form or fashion. And I guarantee you, no one was putting him in high leverage such situations. If they want to have him as a back of the or front of the bullpen guy where, he's pitching in games that are blowouts, okay, it is what it is. But to have this guy, you're trying to tell me there's not someone down in the minors that's better than Nate Jones at this point? You're trying to tell me Tuki Toussaint can't get somebody out? I mean, come on. This is just absolutely absurd. We'll get into Braves country in a second, but the University of Tennessee has gotten a transfer from Michigan, and now that we got the Michigan man and the Tennessee man on, kind of wanted to talk about that for a second. Joe Milton heading to the Volunteers, and I didn't realize who he was until I saw a picture of him. I was like, okay, now I do remember Joe Milton. I get all the quarterbacks' names confused up there, unless they're like a Heisman candidate. So, Sean, what can Tennessee expect from Joe Milton?
Thank you for not saying they all look the same, so I didn't have to log off. Here's the thing about Milton. There's a lot of physical tools to like. He's tall. He's got a good arm. I think he can run a little. He seemed like I don't know how much of it was him and how much of it was the head coach of the University of Michigan and their offensive coordinator, Chris Gaddis. But they seem to not want to let him run unless it was a design. So there's a lot of physical traits to like. After the Minnesota game, it was pretty rough. The Minnesota game was, exemplary. But, I mean, we were up 28-0 7 minutes in. So how much can you really draw from that? He lost that job pretty decidedly to Cade McNamara in the back half of the season. So, I know Tennessee's in a tough spot, trying to kind of do a rebuild or retool on the fly with a new head coach after the circumstances of the last one leaving town. But this is a good piece. I mean, he's a good kid by all accounts. Everybody liked him. I think the results weren't there, and I don't know how much of that was his fault. So I think you're getting a moldable piece of clay. As to whether or not Heupel can do anything with them all the time.
All right, Justin, what say you on the excitement of Milton heading to Tennessee?
I don't really get it other than his 3 years of eligibility. I mean, you've got a loaded room. You bring in Hooker from Virginia Tech. You transfer him in already earlier this season, and then you've got Maurer and Harrison Bailey still on the roster. So those three are competing it out this week, and everybody's curious to see how that looks in the game, how those quarterbacks look. And now you add in Milton as well. One thing I do like about Milton is, if I remember the few games I've seen, is he has an arm. He can throw it down the field. He can open it up. And in Heupel's system, that's going to be something that he wants, that he can stretch those defenses and then have his mobile quarterback underneath. So with the 3 years of control, him graduating in May, being eligible, I see the move, but I wonder if that's meaning we're about to transfer everybody out of the quarterback room.
It's pretty impressive to me that he's graduating this May, and you're saying he still has 3 years of eligibility left?
Yes, he'll have 3 years.
I know he's got the extra one because of COVID. Nobody got charged for playing COVID. Man, that's wild for him to be able to graduate that quickly is impressive in its own right. Just shows you the kind of work ethic and commitment that he has at a young age. So I'm excited.
Well, let's not forget he got the academics to get into Michigan. So I mean, he's not dumb,
right? But at the same token, they're not all. Well, I guess for the best word, they're not all geniuses. That come into Michigan. Jalen Rose proves that on a daily basis. So I'm not going to be convinced that everyone at Michigan is necessarily. It's not exactly the Harvard of the Midwest.
I mean, I do watch Taylor Lewan quite regularly, so I get it.
There you go. There's another. There's another example. The kids on the bus, or whatever he calls his podcast. I'm impressed when a kid that young has already gone through college that quickly. And I don't even care if he majored in underwater basket weaving. He still did the work that it took to get. I mean, you're talking about a kid who's probably 20-ish, and he's already gone through 4 years of college. So I don't know. I think it's pretty impressive, in its own right. And you would think that means that he's going to be now that he doesn't have school in the way, unless he decides to go for his bachelor's or whatnot. He's not going to have anything distracting him except going in there and learning the playbook, learning his system. But to your point, they do have quite a few quarterbacks there. Do you think the big thing, Justin, would be the fact that he's more mobile than the rest?
I think it's mobile. I think it's eligibility. I think it's what you just said. His graduation in May allows him to be a full-time football player. I mean, unless he's going on, I don't know if he's going to get his bachelor. I know he's enrolled already, so he's picking up some sort of classes. I know he is on the school's administration roster, so I'm assuming, I don't know if you have to have everybody on there just for giggles and attendance points, or if he's actually taking a class load and going to continue his education. But if the first scenario is correct, you've got a full-time quarterback that is nothing but dedicated to Heupel's new system. Now, that's going to be the interesting part is, can he take that this offseason and compete by the fall? Can he pick it up, Heupel's system, in that amount of time? And with him not having the schooling, I don't see why he couldn't. Yes, the mobility I think is there as well, but I just think it's really got to do with his eligibility and graduation.
Could it just be the fact that Josh Heupel had to have a Milton on his roster? Because if everyone remembers, Mackenzie Milton came from Central Florida. He transferred to Florida State. So at first when I saw Milton transfers to Tennessee, I was like, well, why the hell did he go to Florida State in the first place? I was about to lose my mind. I was like, what was the point of this? And then I read the Joe part. I said, okay, never mind. I'll calm down. We can turn the defibrillator off. Okay, let's go ahead and dive into Braves country. The Braves took one on the chin last night, losing to the New York Yankees, and unbelievable fashion. Well, that ain't the right one.
You're in Braves country.
All right, the Atlanta Braves, they lose late one. By the way, what a wasted effort by Charlie Morton. I mean, Charlie Morton was absolutely phenomenal last night, and he exits. I liked his post-game comments, basically saying that they're a good team, and it's frustrating because they can't get it quite going, but they've got to remember how good of a team they are and not get down and keep putting in the work. Eventually, the wins will come. But I'm concerned about the back of this bullpen. Most major league games are not decided by 4 or 5 runs. It's usually decided by a run or two. You normally get down to the nitty gritty, and if you're going to be a playoff team, you have to win those games. And if you can't get to your closer in Will Smith, who I'm still not convinced is a closer, I think he is a setup guy. I felt like the Braves overpaid for him in free agency when they signed him a couple of two off seasons ago. I felt like that he padded his stats out west when he faced the Diamondbacks and he faced the Rockies on a regular basis when he was out there with the Giants, and he was not shut down last year. It was to the point where the guy was coming in the 6th and 7th inning in the playoffs. We didn't even have him as a setup guy behind Melanson, and now he's the closer until the trading deadline. And so you're talking about having to wade through 3 months of this, Justin. I hope we're still in the playoff race at that point. What say you?
I don't think we will be. I don't. Bullpen has been a glaring issue on this roster for the past 3 or 4 seasons. Last year was an anomaly. They brought in so many pieces that, I mean, they just threw so much at the wall that some of it stuck. And then they retained none of the pieces. And the ones that they did retain aren't performing, and it doesn't look like Anthopoulos is shopping around out there to fill the cupboard. So let's think outside the box. We got any underperforming starting pitchers that want to go out there that maybe can't hang second time through the rotation? Do you know a guy that sounds like that maybe one time through is really good, but that second time through he just gets shellacked? Like, don't we have a couple guys on this roster that you could maybe put in that spot?
Well, that's what's going to be so key to Soroka coming back, because when Soroka comes back and Smiley comes back, you can put Yanoa on the back of the bullpen, which is what I've been talking about since the beginning of the year. Yanoa essentially has 2 pitches, and when you see him the 3rd time through the lineup, he tends to get added, okay? But when
I was thinking more Kyle Wright. Bring that kid in for 1 inning and a
Kyle
pinch
Wright
spot versus you ever bring James back out on the field.
Touki Toussaint. But I think one of the keys to that is getting all these other guys healthy, right? Smiley, I don't think he's going to be long-term. I would think we'll see him by the end of next week. But when you start talking about the 5th starter, it looks like Soroka will not be around until sometime in late May is what it's looking like. And so that worries you because he hasn't even started throwing again. And so we go through another thing where he doesn't show up till July or August, it's going to be too late. I would be more in favor of having Bryce Wilson pitch as the 5th starter, even though he may not be shut down elite 5th starter, but he can eat innings, right? And I'm willing to take that chance at 1 day a week, right? Whatever. To be able to put Yanoa and Kyle Wright in that bullpen where you have to deal with those right-handed arms. We have 5 lefties in our bullpen. That's unheard of. One of the reasons why it's unheard of is because you only need usually 2 or 3 because you have too many lefties. Those lefties are facing a lot of right-handed bats, and they get tattooed. Sean, what say you?
Yeah, I'm waiting to see what shoe drops. I don't know if anybody saw this, but apparently it was reported that Shane Green was at a Braves game. People saw him like in the left field bleachers. This was, I don't know, about a week ago. I guess he's maintaining a home there, just waiting for them to come to their senses. And every bullpen game that they blow, I'm sure his price goes up by about $100,000. I don't know what Anthopoulos is waiting for.
I can tell you this: according to MLB, the show Shane Green will sign with the Braves for 4 years, $10 million on the spot. That was that. Before I even made trades, I signed Shane Green. I was like, is he a free agent? Bam! Give him to me. What the hell's Jake Lamb still doing on this roster? Kick.
I think there's still moves to be made. I agree with you about Will Smith. He's very frustrating. He has outings where he looks like a shutdown closer, which he kind of was a couple years ago. Even if you're right, he got a little bit fat on some thin cows out there in the NL West. Sometimes he looks good, and sometimes he doesn't look like he can locate. I really wonder if there's a long-term closer in the bullpen right now. The one time that they trotted Newcomb out there, Newcomb looked like he was born for the role. So I don't know if that's something that they'll explore or not. Time will tell, but they've got to do something about the bullpen because they're going to score. Ronnie's going to be back soon, and they've got starting pitching, but they can't keep losing these games in the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings, or they're going to be on the outside looking in earlier.
I think the problem with if you have Newcomb as your closer, then you've got lefty going in, and so I think it's got to be a righty. And I'm not saying it's got to be an everyday closer. I'm perfectly fine with situational. You have Will Smith close against the lefties. You have close against righties. I think is the guy. I really do, and I think he's got.
I like it.
He's got the electric stuff to put it away. He doesn't have to develop a third pitch. He can develop that third pitch off to the side, right? And maybe he gets it perfected by next year. But he only needs really 2 pitches to be able to close games out, especially with his electric fastball and his breaking ball. He doesn't need a third pitch, but you need a third pitch if you're going to go through the lineup. And to Justin's point, I think Kyle Wright would be perfect in the 6th, 7th inning. I just wonder if they're trying to build up his trade capital by having him continue to be a starter, which is concerning. Because
it's not a good process.
How long are we going to play this? I mean, Kyle Wright has stunk for 3 seasons now, and he'll have an outing or two where you're like, all right. But then he never gets very deep into games. At the end of the season last year, he had a really good start, and we were all impressed. Not enough to trot him out there into the World Series. We weren't that impressed. You look good, but we ain't crazy. So I don't know. It's very concerning. Let's go ahead and you got something to say, Justin?
Well, I was just going to say I don't want to end it on doom and gloom. I do want to bring up the one bright spot in the 9th inning. How about Austin Riley battling it out with Chapman? That right there might be the biggest thing of the game yesterday. He battled it out with a known hurler, and with his struggles, maybe that is what wakes him up and gets that back going and productiveness that we need out of that lineup. So you're not in them 1-1 games in the 8th inning. You got 2 or 3 on the board.
And they've got an opportunity today. I mean, they're going up against Kluber, who has not been Kluber of 2017, right? So he's a he'll have some great innings, and then he'll have some questionable innings. So he's got an opportunity.
Didn't Mr. Anderson make his debut against the Yankees last season? So this is
he sure did.
His second time versus the Yankees, correct?
Yeah,
sure did.
I believe the first time was in Atlanta, but yes. So that's a good thing because he pitched so well against them. It also means that they've seen him now. So and Ian Anderson has not looked like Ian Anderson of 2020 yet. So we will hope that improves. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we got the NHL on the way.
Geico knows there are many reasons why you ride. From the exciting adventure of the daily commute to the peace of mind that Geico always has your back with 24/7 access to claim service and legendary customer service. But Pamela Mund had one reason in particular.
My skin is extremely averse to most fabrics, except for the soft, buttery feeling of leather. Thankfully, I found my clan of leather lovers in the biking community. It's been life-changing.
Geico Motorcycle. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Hey, Jacksonville, winter is the perfect time to start planning for your healthy, pest-free spring lawn with True Green, America's #1 lawn care company. True Green's science-based approach and local expertise will help give your lawn the year-round care it needs to be thick and weed-free. Go to truegreen.com/radio to save 50% on your first service. Just call 866-946-5956 or go to truegreen.com/radio today and get a lawn to be proud of.
New Year's resolutions. We've all made them. Mine is the same every year. Eat healthier. The eat part usually works out fine. It's the healthier part I forget about. But not anymore, now that I've found the oh-so-chocolatey Built Bar. Built Bars are low-cal, low-sugar, high-protein, high-fiber. Great for keto. Lose or maintain weight while indulging in a yummy treat. At 130 calories, you'll feel like making a resolution every day. Try all 18 amazing flavors. Get yours at BuiltBar.com.
Hey, it's your home, and I need to ask you a few favors. In the kitchen, there's a spider stuck between the window and the screen, and I know it's dead, and technically it's outside, but it's still freaking me out. Can you flick it out or something? Also, just to save some money, and it's super easy, could you bundle your home and car insurance with Geico? Last thing, could you take the holiday decorations down? Yeah, I'm one of those.
Geico. For bundling made easy, go to geico.com today.
Well, now you've ruined it like a pizza place ruins a salad.
Okay, 4 pizzas and a salad.
Salad? How do you make a salad?
First, you throw in the whole head of lettuce.
Even the hard-to-eat white part at the bottom?
That's what the people want. Now what else?
I got a can of whole black olives. Should I slice them up?
What are you, crazy? No, you keep them whole. You're gonna want to know you've got an olive in your mouth.
What about this tomato?
Cut it into thirds. It should be big enough to pretend you've got red teeth.
How about this carrot? Should I cut it up?
Yes, but very thin lengthwise. The whole length of the carrot. One thin slice. Okay, what else do we got?
Well, we got these hot peppers, but you can't really eat them.
No problem. Dump them all in.
Now, should we put it in a bowl?
No, let's put it in a lasagna tray.
Okay, great. I'll take it.
Oh, and make sure to stick it right on top of the pizza so it stays nice and warm. Hello, every pizza place.
Armchair.
Good morning. Welcome back here to the Armchair Quarterbacks, CBS Sports Radio, YouTube Live. Make sure to find the show today on YouTube Live. We've got another edition coming to the show next Tuesday. Bobby, who is a big NFL guy, he is going to be joining us 9 a.m. Eastern Tuesday to talk the NFL draft. And oddly enough, Bobby is more into the West Coast NFC, so big Arizona Cardinal fan. So we'll get a different perspective on that, and a younger guy too. So we'll get a perspective on how us old farts, don't think right. And he should be free because the rioting did not happen last night that we were all afraid that could happen. So after the George Floyd Chauvin verdict that I think had a lot of people on edge. If you were under a rock, Derek Chauvin was found guilty on all 3 counts, and the sentencing will be about 8 weeks from now. So there was that, and this is what is happening in the world of sports. We talked about Milton transferring to Tennessee. Shohei Ohtani took the mound last night for the first time since a couple of days past opening day, and his Angels got the W, but he walked 6 batters, so kind of went four innings. It had an okay outing, but the 6 walks concern you. Athletes reacted to the George Floyd verdict or Chauvin verdict, and they were a little mixed as far as, I think the one that got the most heat was LeBron James tweeting out accountability. Well, that of course got everyone jumping on him saying, well, what about you in Hong Kong? And, so there was that. Couple of the others, that came out. Karl Anthony Towns, justice and accountability. Bubba Wallace, justice served on all counts. And, of course, Emmanuel Acho. Is it Acho or Acco? Had to tweet out, you don't applaud a fish for swimming. You just applaud the justice system providing justice. So you can't make everybody happy. The NBA released a statement talking about, the George Floyd murder. NFL released a statement. The NHL released a statement. I won't read those statements to you, but they are available on Twitter. The MLB released a statement. NASCAR released a statement. And the WNBA released a statement that said, hey, don't forget about us. We still play. Okay. And so other than that, going on to the scoreboard real quick, and then we're going to get into the National Hockey League. We talked about it before. The Braves lose to the Yankees 3-1, and Cardinals drop one to the Nationals 3-2. Red Sox stay red hot. They're 12-6 on the season, 4-2 winners over the Blue Jays. The Mets lose. Cubs 3-1. JD Davis, if y'all missed this, he kind of cost them the game. He's had an error in the fourth inning. It opened up the floodgates to a 3-run inning. He hit the home run, so it was a kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't start. JD Davis at third base, and all New York could talk about this morning is the fact that the Mets need a DH position, and we feel their pain. The Rays all over the Royals last night, 14-7. Dodgers won. I watched this Dodgers-Mariners game, and that was a phenomenally pitched game. It was going on the same time as the verdict was coming out, so I had I had one monitor on that, and I had one monitor on the trial, and Urias looked phenomenal, but Gonzalez pitched really well too. White Sox over the Indians, A's over the Twins, D-backs and Reds. It's been suspended. It will resume at 5:10 p.m. Eastern today. It is in the 8th inning. I had skin in that game, so damn, I got to wait 24 hours to figure out if I win or lose. That's another $5 or $10 bet. Giants over the Phillies, and Angels won. We talked about that. Brewers, Corbin Burns struck out 10 last night in San Diego against the Padres. And we'll get into everything else a little later. Y'all, let's go ahead and jump into the National Hockey League, where we've got the playoffs brewing, and going to kind of let Justin lead the way on this, with the Predators playing really well right now. As we speak, they're in the playoffs, and they are 1 point in front of the Dallas Stars. Justin, what say you?
They need help. They don't control their own destiny. They must win. They've got 9 games left, and that's only a possibility of 18 points, whereas Dallas has 10 games left. So they could win out, and none of them are heads up against each other. But yes, Nashville's in it right now. They need to continue to play well and win. They got a game tonight against Chicago. They play them again. It's either Friday or Saturday night. So they are right there in the hunt as well. So they need to secure those 4 points right there, and just hope that maybe Detroit can put something together and help us out and beat Dallas. But there's got to be some separation.
If you go on a 9-game winning streak, I'm pretty sure that you control your own destiny. I'm just going to put it out there. I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there. If the Preds win out, they're going to make the playoffs. And if they don't, what a bunch of horse crap that will be.
But, I mean, look at who the Stars are playing as well. I mean, they have the same possibility to win out as well.
They're not playing me, you, and Sean, are they? Hopefully they'll get at least 1 or 2 L's. I mean, if it's us,
they're not playing Tampa or Carolina either. So, I mean, big difference there.
It would take me 4 or 5 games just to how to figure out how to put the skates on. Sean, what say you about what's going on in the rest of the league?
So the 2 things that really have jumped out to me over the last week, one is the Winnipeg Jets are, much to my surprise, taking a late dash here at the top seed in the North. They're only 4 points behind Toronto. They still have 2 games left head-to-head with Toronto. Toronto has struggled the last couple of games against the COVID Canucks, and has had a lot of trouble dispatching them, even though they're very bad. So that's of great interest to me. And I'm really keeping my eye on Boston. I don't have – I've seen the meme over and over again of Gene Wilder at the beginning of Willy Wonka where he's limping, and then he suddenly does the barrel roll and he jumps up and he's all good. And people have used that that clip about 3,000 times for Taylor Hall, because he looked like a guy who had no interest in playing hockey ever again in Buffalo. And he shows up in Boston, and, you know, maybe it's just the line combinations. Maybe it's that they have some competent players with Marchand and so on and the like. And the only thing they have in Buffalo is Jack Eichel and Rasmus Dahlin. He suddenly looks like a different player and has paid big dividends for Boston. So I'm keeping an eye on Boston. I mean, they're only 4 points behind Washington, and they have 2 games to play more than the 3 teams in front of them. Pittsburgh, the Islanders, and Washington have all played 46. Boston has only played 44. And it gives me no pleasure to say this, but the Bruins could be dangerous in the playoffs. Not that we've ever seen that before.
If you're a Boston sports fan, you're having a pretty good month right now.
You're having a great month.
Hot. The Red Sox have been flying out the gate. Of course, the Bruins and the Patriots will. Cam Newton hasn't played a game, so that's going well. So, Justin, outside of those Preds making a dash for the playoffs, is there other areas or other divisions in the NHL that you've been paying attention to, or are you pretty much locked in on Nashville?
I'm pretty much locked on Nashville. I am following out west. Arizona and St. Louis are separated by a point in the Western. So down the stretch, as late night games come on or the Preds go off, I'll be tuned in to any matchups involving those 2 teams just to kind of keep up with that race, because I think those are the only 2 that are single-digit points in between. Well, excuse me, but just a handful of points. I think you've got some 8 and 9 where some races are a little bit farther stretched out. But those are the 2, the Central and the West, that are close by 1 point.
It doesn't look like the Rangers are going to make it. They're still 6 points behind the Bruins, and they got thumped last night. I don't think it's looking good for the Rangers to be able to make it there. The other one that I've been kind of paying attention to, because basically I hate their guts. The Vegas Knights only have a 2-point lead on Colorado, so I'm hoping Colorado can catch them. I will never like the Vegas Knights. I don't know what it is. I think it's got something to do with the fact that I felt like that they were given an unfair advantage when they first started their team. And I'm buddies with the broadcaster who's out in Vegas. He's a big Vegas Knight fan. He plasters it all over social media all the time. It just makes me want to vomit. So I thought they had gone away, and now the Vegas Knights, here they are again. And so that's kind of the one that I've got my eye on. I think the Islanders are pretty safe. They are now tied with the Caps, dead even tie. And I think a lot of people were questioning how good the Islanders were at the beginning of the season, and it looks like that they're back to where they were. Was it last year or the year before that they went so deep into the playoffs? I get them confused because last postseason was so confusing.
2018, they played for the Cup final against the Capitals and lost Game 7 at home. So it was a couple years ago. You're not far off.
Was it 2018? Is it? It's that long ago?
I'm pretty sure I'm right about that. Yeah.
Wow. Justin, when did the Preds play for it against Pittsburgh?
17. Yeah, year before.
Damn. Y'all are getting old, man.
Oh, hell.
I felt like that was yesterday.
That was 2018 was Capitals in Vegas. 2019 was the Blues. The Blues march to the Stanley Cup, and then the Lightning won in the bubble last year.
So. I had that backwards in my head. I thought the Blues thing happened before the was Trotz the
coach? Of the Capitals. Yep.
Yes.
2018.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Okay.
And they did not re-sign him after that season. So he went.
I know. Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to get it all straight in my head. All right. Sorry. Anything else to add on that before we jump over to the NFL mock draft? Either one of y'all?
No, I don't really have much of anything. I'm going to be keeping my eye on whether Columbus is really tanking because Detroit's been a little frisky since the Anthony Mantha trade, picking up Jacob Verana, and they've played a little bit better. So I'm actually wondering if Detroit's not going to finish in last. And Columbus is in just an absolute free fall. They've won 1 game out of their last 10. They've got a bunch of people hurt. And to pivot to the Central, and I'm not going to spend too much time on it, I can't believe Florida's still playing as well as they are, especially with Ekblad gone for the year. I really hope they finish either 1 or I hope their reward for this amazing season in a hockey star market is not, hey, go play the defending Stanley Cup champions in the first round and get your brains beat in. So we'll see if that comes to pass.
They've got the rankings out, by the way. Someone put a rankings list out of the remaining games and who has the most favorable matchup or easiest, hardest schedule left. The Predators are sitting right in the middle at number 15. I'm trying to find the Blackhawks where they are, if they're higher or lower. So the
Stars are the one of interest as well.
Vegas has the most difficult one, but Colorado's right behind them. So it's really they still play each other a couple of times, which could determine that. I'm trying to find what did I say? Yeah, Stars. Okay, sorry. Stars are 17th, so they're a little, it's
pretty even.
Yeah, exactly. The next 7 days, the Preds will face Chicago twice and Florida twice. The Stars will face Detroit and Carolina twice. Well, you know what's going to happen with Detroit, so.
There's 4 points.
I don't have to be an NHL expert to tell you that.
Didn't you use the word frisky? Maybe we could see some of that friskiness out of the Red Wings. I'd love to see.
I don't know how frisky they'll be. It depends on whether you're getting Bernier or Grice in goal. So we'll see how frisky they really are.
Oh, mercy. All right. The Jacksonville Jaguars have
at all cost.
The Jacksonville Jaguars have the 65th pick overall in the draft. And start off, I thought I had this thing laid out a little better, and I really don't. Trevor Lawrence, obviously, they went with their first pick. And then later on in the first round, they took Tony, wide receiver out of Florida. Then they went with a safety from Virginia Tech, and I believe there was another pick somewhere. I'm trying to find it. I don't know why I can't find it. I could have swore that they had another pick because we were trying to write the wrong. Oh, here it is. They went defensive tackle. So essentially what we have here is they went offense in the first 2 rounds, and then they went defense in – I'm sorry, offense in the first 2 picks, defense in the next 2 picks. And looking at what they have going on in Jacksonville, I really think that Jacksonville needs to kind of make a move, more of a splash in the offense, because with all being said, I believe that Jacksonville is going to want to try to put butts in seats more than anything else in this first year with Urban Meyer. And does he have the players to be able to make that kind of a move? James Robinson, I think we can all agree, is solid, but they don't have a whole hell of a lot behind him when it comes to the running back position. And I believe Carter's already taken. So I'm looking at the best running back option for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I'm kind of intrigued. It's kind of a reach because I think he's being projected more in the 4th or 5th round, and it could be a headache. So it may not be something you want to do as long as Urban Meyer doesn't wear an OAN t-shirt. I think he'll be fine. I'm going to go with Chuba Hubbard with the 65th pick overall in the Jacksonville Jaguars. So that takes us to the Jets and Mr. Justin Waller. I'm a little, Sean, are you a little surprised that Hubbard is rated as low as he is?
A little bit, but he's also kind of a perplexing prospect in the sense that he's not a traditional NFL back. He wasn't really an exceptional pass catcher. He was used in a lot of different ways. I think where I've seen him is about where he's projected to go. I'm wondering, like you are, if someone's going to take a chance on him and just look at the physical tools and say, we're not going to worry about any of the mentals or any of the, off the field concerns. We're just going to focus on, what his specific measurables and football IQ is and take him earlier than he's projected. And there's a lot of players that I think are going to fall into that basket. I'll be curious, I don't have the list right in front of me. I don't know if he's already been taken, but Kellen Mond at quarterback out of Texas A&M is a guy that I'll be curious to see if he gets snagged early or if he goes about where people think he's going to go, which is somewhere between the 55th and 75th selection, or if someone jumps up and gets him.
Yeah, we haven't drafted him yet. I think he's going to get drafted down the list because he's just so incredibly inaccurate passing. So he's a project. But if you could ever get his accuracy down, man, the sky's the limit for him. Justin, have you figured out a pick for the 66th pick for the New York Jets?
I have. They went Zach Wilson with we have them drafting Zach Wilson, Mayfield, offensive lineman out of Michigan, both in the 1st round, and then coming back with Williams, running back out of UNC. I originally overlooked that offensive lineman pick and had a offensive tackle picked, but I'm going to swap since we've already done that. We're not going to double dip, and we will go with cornerback help, another big need for the Jets, and I'm going to try not to mangle this name. And Fatu Melifonwu out of Syracuse, cornerback. Big kid, 6'2", 205, long arms, plays good and physical. I think he could really help out that secondary.
Man, I'll tell you what. Hats off to you for even attempting that name.
I have the pronunciation in front of me. I just hope I said it right. I could not have done that on my own.
I'll tell you what I would have done. I would have drafted the next guy on the list.
Hey, do you know how hard it is to find the next guy on the list in the 3rd round right now? I was struggling.
I want to tell you right now, if a new Melanson, you are not being drafted by me today. That's what I would have done. Sean, that takes the Houston Texans to you. I'll tell you what, that wouldn't be a bad move. Have Kellen Mond go to the Texans because is Deshaun Watson going to be playing in 2021?
So with the Houston Texans pick, and we haven't said their name a lot because a lot of their picks belong to other people. And the only thing that, this is a franchise that needs everything, including, more people on legal retainer they need more people working billable hours right now, but we're going to leave that off to the side. They have a lot of needs. I'm going to specifically target the offensive line because Watson ran for his life last year. I don't know who he's going to be throwing to. I don't know who's going to be in the backfield other than David Johnson. But I'm going to take Creed Humphrey, offensive lineman out of the University of Oklahoma.
Yeah, he played taken.
Has he? Did I miss him? Dang, I missed him. Yeah. Okay.
I remember.
Sorry about that. All right. I had a backup.
He was taken 2nd round.
I had a backup for exactly that reason.
Overall to the Dolphins.
Okay. That's where I missed that. Okay. So that's why you have more than one selection, folks. All right. Jackson Carman, the offensive tackle out of the University of Clemson. Figures to slot in on the opposite side of Laramie Tunsil. I was going to take Humphrey just for his malleability for playing center or guard. But Jackson Carman out of Clemson is going to be a fine backup pick. Big guy. Throw him on the other edge opposite Tunsil and try to keep Watson alive.
What's that, Justin?
I was going to say, now you got to trade your pick to McGee because I think he's already drafted as well.
Is he?
What?
I believe you took him yesterday. Yes, you did. McGee did.
I don't have him on my list. I don't see him.
Okay, I didn't see him either. So maybe I'm.
When did I draft him? Do you remember that? Because I could be
maybe
wrong.
I'm wrong. Roll on. Go with it.
Okay.
Sounds good.
This whole
Jay
thing,
Carman, Cincinnati, number 38 overall.
The
number 38 Cincinnati, Jay Carman.
Oh, 38. Okay, so that's been a few days ago. Okay, so Troche drafted him. Gotcha. Okay, yeah, he is gone. If I didn't
that's why I missed him.
If I didn't draft him,
You need an lineman. Sam Kasomi out of Texas, offensive tackle. There you go.
This is a terrible.
I hope you have one available. I'm sorry.
I had three backups in case I missed one. So
okay,
we'll
go.
go.
Who do you have next?
I got Trey Smith.
Panay Sewell. I'll take
Trey Smith out of Tennessee.
I'll take Trevor Morris. Okay, who? I'm sorry. Say that again. Sorry.
Trey Smith, offensive lineman, University of Tennessee.
Okay.
I like it.
Now you're just trying to get on Justin's good side. That's all that's going on there. All right. So let me cross this out. I'm glad you caught that, Justin, because I totally spaced on that. Trey Smith.
I only know it because I searched hard for a lineman for the Jets, and I just realized I overlooked their 23rd pick in the first round and had to scramble for a cornerback. So
you know what's a money-making idea? Someone needs to come up with an app that you can take players off on your mock drafts. You know, like 5-6 of us can all log in and it comes off. I think that's a money-making idea. It may not be $1 million idea, but it's at least worth $37, $38. All right, so that takes me to the Atlanta Falcons. And now I'm scared that I'm going to pick someone that's already been picked. The Atlanta Falcons, we've got them going with Pitts out of Florida to start it all off, right? And in the second round, they take Stevenson out of Oklahoma. I want to double check and make sure they haven't had other picks because I don't have the team picks in front of me. I thought I did. Oh, here it is. So the Atlanta Falcons, they have they're almost just straight up. They've got first, second, third, and fourth rounds. And then in the fifth and sixth, they have multiple picks. So this is their third pick of the draft. And because they went Pitts with the first pick, I'm going to say that they're going to go and try to get their project player, the guy that could be something. I don't believe Davis Mills has been drafted. If he has, stop me. But I think I'm going to go Davis Mills, quarterback out of Stanford for Atlanta.
You can claim your player.
Okay. He is
available.
If not, he'll just have to do double duty this year.
Yeah.
Drafted by Atlanta and Jacksonville as a backup. Well, you know, it's only a 6-hour drive, guy. Relax.
Atlanta did you a solid. You weren't playing in Jacksonville.
So Davis Mills, I'll just go with that. I think he's the best quarterback available. And I do think at some point you got to realize Matty Ice is getting up there in age. But the reason why I don't think they're going to draft a quarterback with the first pick is that if Pitts is sitting there, he's just too enticing to, if you line up Pitts and Julio Jones along with all their other weapons, Atlanta could be scary this year. That big of a turnaround that quick. And so, Justin, this takes us to you to end the hour. Cincinnati Bungles are picking now.
And they are following up first round, 5th overall, took Devontae Smith, and then second round offensive lineman, Mr. Carmen there. So I'm going to go cornerback, and I will go outside the box here. I'm going to go Aaron Robinson, UCF. A little bit smaller backer, outside guy, but a real good physical tackler. I don't know a lot to remember, but he played his first year at Alabama. I don't remember the reasons, but transferred to UCF and finished up out there. But that's the biggest grade on him. His open field tackling improved a lot and has been one of his strong strengths. But in 2020, he really excelled at that. So we will go Aaron Robinson, cornerback, UCF.
All right. That takes us to the top of the hour, Justin. We can't see you, but what is your walk-off?
Well, it is for my Nashville Predators to get that W today and somehow get Detroit to believe they have the Stars tomorrow to pull that off for me. And I don't know why I can't find my Zoom screen to get back to you guys, but there we go. Yeah, so just to keep this momentum going and somehow get some separation, because that final 2 games with the Carolina Hurricanes is really looming over the Predators. And that's obviously going to be the first-round matchup for, if things play out the way they are, for whoever is in that 4th spot in the Central. So at some point in time, Nashville is going to have to figure out how to get a W against the Carolina Hurricanes.
I promise to all the listeners and viewers out there, we will not try to attempt a 4th round. I see now why Mel Kiper Jr. stops his off in the 1st round. He's just like, he's like, kiss my ass. I'm not trying to figure this out.
It is, yeah, I didn't realize how first, second round, no problem. You get into the 3rd, and it was just, okay, wow.
We made it into the 4th
and you can only keep up with who you're tipping.
Yeah, we made it into the 4th round a few years back, but that was back when we had it was a 3-hour show, and I think we took a lot longer, slower approach to it as opposed to trying to jam it in. So I think next year we're going to take a slower approach as opposed to waiting till a couple of weeks before. We'll probably just go a few weeks out and then just do like a couple of picks a day, because this gets crazy. Especially when you're trying to do so many each day, and then you get to the end and it just turns into a nightmare.
All is well. It's fun. We'll at least know half the people that are drafted. It gets you to know the prospects and makes fantasy football that more interesting to me.
Well,
I enjoy it.
Also, you can never go bad with football talk, right? So, it's either this or we break down the Kansas City Royals bullpen. So, that's just
pretty. I got a walk-off for you, and we can talk about this tomorrow. Did you guys see the report, the NFL with the concussions? About 18-20% are going to have to change helmets next year. A lot of shuts are getting downgraded. We have any more AB situations? Anybody get upset about their helmet and don't play?
Yeah, I saw a blurb on it. I didn't see read the whole article. I saw it this morning.
Athletics got a good one if you want to check it out.
Okay.
Or I'll forward it to you after the show. But yeah, there was a massive downgrade in the helmets this year for a lot of vendors. So it'll be interesting to see what everybody changes to, and if we have any other scenarios where someone's been in a lifelong helmet that's been downgraded and just packs it up and retires.
That smells like someone is trying to push their helmet like a new contract kind of thing, right?
Off the top of my head, it was one Nike, I believe, and there were like 9 or 10 shut models, different models verified by them that they had taken down, which I believe was the maker of the one that AB wore that got declassified when that went down. So sounds like they're not favoring this brand too well. Might be an equipment change. But yeah.
All right, brother. Well, we will see you next tomorrow with Joey, and we will be back in a flash here on the Armchair Quarterbacks. Stay tuned. I should have had a better ending to that, but you know, it's like my draft picks.
Nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna know.
They're gonna know.
How would they know?
Armchair.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks, CBS Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good morning, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. What is new? What is new? Oh yeah, a panel of jurors found former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin guilty Tuesday on 3 charges in connection in the May 2020 death of George Floyd. Chauvin, 45 years old, was charged with second-degree unintentional murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter. With Americans on edge and the sports world paying attention, we figured we had to at least give you an update in case you were under some kind of rock. Derek Chauvin's sentencing will take place in about 8 weeks, according to the judge. He could be sent to prison for decades. It appears now that the Super League could be dead. Manchester City, Liverpool, Man U, Arsenal, and Tottenham will all begin the process of pulling out of the proposed European Super League the clubs announced on Tuesday. Chelsea is also expected to exit the proposed league, sources have confirmed. The reversal is a stunning U-turn for the EPL clubs after Sunday's announcement that they were among 12 European teams looking to break away from UEFA. The once bright-looking Super League was planning on somewhere between 15 and 18 European leagues throughout the continent. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, after re-signing all 22 starters on offense and defense from their Super Bowl champion team, have finally got a backup quarterback. It's Ryan Griffin. He returns. Griffin was the number 3 quarterback on the roster last year behind Blaine Gabbert. Griffin, 31 years old, will enter 7th year with the Buccaneers and second backing up Tom Brady. Griffin famously whisked away Brady in front of cameras after the Super Bowl boat parade, a moment that went viral on social media, and something Brady chalked up to just a little avocado tequila. Blaine Gabbert remains unsigned, so it looks like that Griffin is first man up to be the designated driver come mid-February next year. Your fantasy football teams are now safe, as former Washington Redskin and former Washington football team tight end Jordan Reed says he's retiring from the National Football League. Quote, "I was pretty sure I was going to keep playing. I was feeling good about where I was at," Reed said, and then added, "But then I had some lingering effects and sought professional help to get diagnosed. They told me it was not a good idea for me to keep playing. I agreed with them." Well, no duh! This is like the 73rd concussion this guy's had in 5 or 6 seasons. Reed, 30 years old, has played 7 seasons with Washington and San Francisco, catching 355 passes, 28 touchdowns. He played 10 games with the 49ers last year with 26 catches. To note, he has also cost hundreds of fantasy football teams thousands of losses over the years. And former Michigan quarterback Joe Milton has officially planned to transfer to the University of Tennessee. Milton entered the draft transfer portal in February and is scheduled to graduate in May, which would make him eligible to play for the Volunteers immediately this season. The Vols are looking for a starting quarterback as they transition with first-year head coach Josh Heupel from Central Florida. In 5 starts in 2020, Milton passed for 1,077 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for more of the Armchair Quarterbacks radio show and YouTube Live. Please like, subscribe, and share our show today. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for sports talk live from the First Coast.
Welcome to the jungle.
Jim Rome on the air noon to 3 Eastern. Only on CBS Sports Radio.
Hi, friend. It's your home speaking, and I need some favors. Could you turn on some of the lights in the basement? I'm scared of the dark. Also, this one is easy. Could you bundle your home and car insurance with Geico so we could save money? Last thing, just a suggestion. Could you steam clean the carpets? I need a spa day.
Geico. For bundling made easy, go to geico.com today.
Celia's up for parole. Hey, little Jerry won his cockfight. What? Who? I'm too tired.
Welcome back here to the Armchair Quarterbacks. CBS Sports Radio and YouTube Live. Make sure to jump in on YouTube Live. Sean, if we're in the middle of talking the NFL and someone chimes in with, "How about my Panthers?" What would you take that as?
I would take that as you're a Carolina fan, or it's the one guy that I think chimes in sometimes who's a Florida Panthers fan, and he's
Right.
10 minutes late.
Right, but he's saying, "Well, how about my Panthers in the middle of the NFL?" And so I told him, I said, "I thought you were referring to the Carolina Panthers," and he said, "No, you need to wake up," kind of thing. I'm like, "We were talking about the NFL, and you say, how about my Panthers?"
Yeah,
it would be the equivalent of saying, "What do y'all think about the Cowboys this season?" during that segment, and you say, "Well, I think they're gonna be much better with Dak Prescott." No, we just lost Chuba Hubbard. We need to know about Oklahoma State.
Right. Mike Gundy's stake in OAN just went down 4% thanks to cryptos. That's what I was talking about. Get out of here. Stop
We're the
watching.
only sports talk show on the planet that someone's asking about the Florida Panthers. Let's just put that out there.
Exactly.
Let's do a deep dive on the Florida Panthers. But first, Kansas City Royals bullpen.
But first, have you seen Josh Staumont? He looks great.
Did you? Oh, by the way, I left this out. Let me see if I can pull up his pick, because I never get tired of pulling up his pick. Here we go. See, I'm sure you saw this, but for people who didn't, see what this idiot did?
Oh, God.
Did you see?
Yes, I saw it.
He tweets out. God, I have it written down somewhere. I don't want to miss tweet.
I can breathe now.
No, he says, "We can all breathe again because justice was served." This is right after the verdict yesterday.
Yeah, I saw it.
And he refuses to take it down.
Look at him.
I'm like,
he's a caricature of a Howdy Doody puppet that's been run through a blender.
I think he was trying to be poetic, but when it falls flat, just take the damn thing down. He did come out and say, "I didn't mean anything offensive, da 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 da." But when it falls flat and you realize that it has fallen flat, you take the tweet down.
Get out.
Haven't we all tweeted something at some point? You're like, "Yeah, it's not as funny as I thought it was going to be. It's not as poetic as I thought it was going to be."
It's literally a daily thing for me.
You're like, no one cares about the Florida Panthers. I'm like, I'm going to take that down. No. So I feel like Brian needs one of those haircuts. How does a multimillionaire have that haircut, by the way? I mean, I would love to know the answer to that.
You have a haircut like that when you didn't do a single thing to earn your money except be born with the last name Davis. That's how.
Dude. It's not like this guy's going into Supercuts with coupons, right?
He's definitely not.
How does he have that haircut?
That
is like the worst haircut, and no one in his circle. See, if I'm Mark Davis, I fire everyone in my inner circle. Everyone, because you're nothing but a bunch of damn yes men. Because 5 years ago, I got this haircut, and I've been waiting for one of you asses to say, what the hell's going on with your hair? And none of you keep just saying how beautiful it is and buying me combs for birthdays and stuff. You're all a bunch of kiss asses. Get out. That would be the first thing that I would say that morning.
I agree.
Anyone have a problem with this haircut? And every person that says yes, go, you're fired, you're fired, no, everyone says no. No, that's great, man. It really makes your eyes pop. You're fired, you're fired, you're fired.
You're fired. Get out. I don't even know you and you're fired. Get out.
It doesn't just cut off here where it's like someone set a bowl on your head, but then it's got like a spiky, what do they call it? Cowlick in the back. Man.
It's something.
That dude does not be cutting hair. He just have hair like, he needs like flock of seagulls over his face. All right. We're back to the terrible days of the third round draft picks. And we wanted to make sure that we got to Detroit today. So, Sean, you had the Philadelphia Eagles, and here's hoping you draft someone who has not been taken. I think people are taking side bets on that.
Hey, I would like to mention
just you, man. I guarantee you, everyone's going to do it.
Well,
wait till Friday when we're at the bottom of the barrel, and Matt's having to draft.
I hadn't finished everything from you sent me a text last night and updated me with the picks from the last week. And I had not written them all down, but there's actually, I took last week, I took Gregory Rousseau at 47, the edge player out of Miami for the Chargers. And somebody took him again for Baltimore at 58. So this isn't the first time this has happened. So
there you go.
There you go. I had a prima facie defense, but I have checked my whole list to make sure.
You want to make it even worse? I just realized this at the end of the third round. We have about 10 or 11 compensatory picks.
That's bad. Hey, settle something for me, because I'm seeing this on CBS, but I'm not seeing it anywhere else. On Ryan Wilson's breakdown on CBSSports.com, at the 77th pick, it says the Patriots forfeit. Do you know what that forfeit's for?
Yeah, I read it a long time ago. I do know that it is forfeited. They do not have the 70. In other words, 77th pick just doesn't exist.
Right. It goes from 76 to 78. I was just like, I saw it and I'm like, well, there's no way that's from, whatever it was, football thing, the pressure gate or whatever it was called. That was like 10 years ago. So I don't know what it can be from. It's got to be.
I remember when it happened. I just don't remember what the answer was. It was a minor.
It's got to be a violation of the salary cap, because that's about the only thing they do it for. Is if they try to violate the salary cap.
Well, the most important thing is you broke the golden rule of radio. Never ask a question you don't know the answer to.
Well, at the 70th pick, since I am up and I have double checked and triple checked my work, the Philadelphia Eagles have a lot of needs. Including, I think, quarterback, but I don't know that they're going to address it in this draft. So I'm going to take a skill position player, because I think that's where they're going to focus a lot in this draft. They're going to try and be faster. I'm going to take what I think is the best running back left on the board. You already took Chuba Hubbard. I've checked twice to make sure this guy hasn't been taken. Michael Carter, running back out of the University of North Carolina, who I actually think is better than Hubbard.
I thought he was taken. Was he not?
Michael Carter. I don't have his name written down anywhere.
All right, I'll go ahead and I was under the impression he was taken. It was the reason why I didn't draft him, but I'll go back and look at it later and we'll figure it out. Okay, fair enough. Could have swore we took him. I could have swore both the North Carolina running backs. I've
got Williams. Williams was taken.
Here it is. They forfeited their pick as a part of their punishment for being found guilty. Brian, bad job on you. You should know this. For forfeiting, found guilty of filming the Cincinnati Bengals sidelines during the 2019 season.
The Bengals sideline one. I forgot about that. Wow. It's been a few years since that happened. That's crazy.
Yeah, well, it happened in 2019.
Really? Wow. You said the thing about hockey when we were talking about Stanley Cup winners. That felt like that was like 4 or 5 years ago that happened. That was only 2 years ago. Holy moly.
I'm guessing maybe the verdict didn't come down till after the draft last year.
I guess.
Maybe that's got something to do with it. I don't know. Or maybe they didn't have a 3rd round pick last year and they felt like it was worthy of a 3rd round pick. So that I don't know, but that's what the reasoning for. Brian says so many haters on this show. Suck it up, Buttercup. Back to the terrible draft. I'm ready to bail on this thing.
Stop it. It's fun.
It is until you get. I got 73 windows open right now. I only had 72, and I had to look up what the Patriots did. Probably going to cause a freaking collapse of the server somehow. What did the Patriots do wrong? There's 45 different articles pop up for the last years. Did the Patriots cheat? And there's just a check mark. Okay, so we're going to the Denver Broncos.
Yes.
And Denver, they have quite a few draft picks this year. So the thing with Denver is, I believe, don't we have them taking a first?
I'll give you the breakdown. Let's see. We've got Rashawn Slater, the offensive tackle out of Northwestern, with their first pick in the first round.
Okay.
In the second round,
then that gives
in
me
the second round, we've got Osai, the edge player out of Texas. And yeah, that was their last pick. So they're on schedule. This is their 3rd pick so far.
So for some reason, I thought we had already addressed this issue earlier in the draft, but we haven't. And with that being said, let me get to here we go. I think at some point you got to put the fires to the coal, or the feet to the coal of Drew Lock.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm torn on which one to go with, because they both have their questionable, why they're rated so low compared to other quarterbacks, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But between Kellen Mond and Sam Ehlinger, I'm going to go with the better athlete. Sam Ehlinger, I remember a few years ago when Texas kicked the crap out of Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. I guess it was 2 or 3 seasons
I remember.
I thought this kid was going to be phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
And he's never really done anything since. Now, is that coaching? I don't know.
Hasn't panned out.
But I would rather take a quarterback that's been coached by Jeff Fisher than one that's been coached by Herman. So I'm going to take Kellen Mond, quarterback out of Texas A&M, because at that point you're not expecting this dude to start this year,
right?
And you let him sit there and you let him learn, et cetera, and maybe if you find out by the end of the year the Lock is your guy, then you move on and you say, hey, we either have a really good backup in Kellen Mond, or maybe he's so good somebody wants him and he gives him draft capital. But that's what I would do. I would take Kellen Mond if I'm the Denver Broncos in the 3rd round. What say you on the Detroit Lions?
So with the Lions, there are certainly a variety of different ways that they're going to go in this draft. I think as we get into the 3rd, 4th, and 5th rounds, they're going to try and build up some wide receiving depth for Jared Goff to throw to. I think they might take a quarterback in this draft. In fact, I think it's likely that they'll maybe target Kyle Trask if he doesn't come off the board early, possibly in the 4th round or later in the 3rd. They do have a compensatory. Well, they have a compensatory pick at 102. That's a place where I think they might target somebody for the future if they don't take a quarterback at 7, which again, we had them I took their pick and I had them taking Justin Fields if he falls that far. Whether they do that or not is anybody's guess. But they still need a lot of wide receivers. They let Kenny Galladay walk. They let Marvin Jones walk. You bring back Quintez Cephas. You sign Tyrell Williams. That's great. It's not really getting my blood pressure up. The best wide receiver left on the board at this point, I'm really second guessing myself a lot today after my earlier escapades, but I've double checked and triple checked, and I don't see that he's been taken. So Amari Rodgers out of Clemson, wide receiver, big physical guy, can get separation from the ball. And I don't have him having gone yet. He's ranked as he's ranked as the 70th overall player. So to get him a couple of places
I thought for
below
sure
slot.
you were going Nico Collins. I was looking at him like, he's going Nico Collins. He's going.
Nope.
He
could be a target, but I'm worried about players like Nico who sat out last year and how far they'll fall. We'll see.
I'll tell you the guy who I'm intrigued with is St. Brown out of USC.
Yep.
Because I watched.
He was on my list too.
He's really, really phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great athlete. I've seen him make some incredible catches, but I wonder why he's rated so low if he just does not run crisp routes or what the deal is. But I'm really intrigued by him. I'll tell you a guy's going to be a bust is Tamarian Terry out of Florida State. This guy, if he would have left last year, he probably would have been a second or third rounder. He decided to come back. And I was like, okay, this guy's, I really think that he's got the potential. He just didn't improve. He didn't improve at all. Now, I don't know if it had anything to do with COVID. Maybe he gets in the NFL and someone can do something with him. But Tamarian Terry, there were games that he looked like the best player on the field. And then there were games where, he was just skillet hands. I'm intrigued to see where he goes, and I am pulling for him. For all accounts, as far as I can tell, he's a good kid, but he's not very high rated on the board, and I can see why. Even though tall kid, has got speed, but he just always seemed like a receiver to me that he was always the best athlete in high school, and he thought that would just carry him through college, and it didn't.
A lot of guys like that. They're a dime a dozen, unfortunately.
Transitioning a little bit, let's dive into the NBA. We don't get to talk a lot of NBA on this show because everyone hates it now. But I do want to get into a little bit before we do some AL Central talk real quick. In the NBA, you got the playoffs winding down to the end where we are around 58-ish games played. And remember, they decided they were going to play 70. So there's around a dozen to 10 games left, depending on the team. So we're really talking about 3 weeks, right? Before you hit the playoffs.
Yep.
Is that concerning to you? Or do you think they'll just flip the switch? That the Lakers have been without LeBron James. Antonio Davis, I believe, is coming back very, very soon. I don't know if – let me see. I want to double check this because I don't believe he played Monday night. I think he might be making his debut. They said he could play against Dallas on Thursday. I was double checking to make sure that they haven't played since Monday. Would it concern you as a Lakers fan, or do you just figure that these guys are professionals and they get out there and they're just going to steamroll everybody?
That's obviously, as someone who's been a appointed Lakers hater for most of my life, because we talked about it when the whole world shut down. We went back and looked at that 88 finals that I still believe the Pistons should have won. I've hated the Lakers since I was a kid. Whether they're going to just be able to turn it on, I don't know. Where things stand right now is it looks like, unless there's a lot of movement between now and then, they're probably going to play Denver in the first round. Denver is obviously without Jamal Murray. They have not had any luck in the past, Denver that is, beating the Lakers, because they can throw so many bodies at Jokic, and he's basically their only offensive and defensive salve for LeBron, and they don't really have anyone that can guard LeBron. So I think the Lakers are counting on we're going to get a favorable first round matchup. Then we're going to play Utah, and Utah is the number 1 seed, but they haven't proven anything in the playoffs virtually ever. And we'll just get inside their head and win. But it's funny, the complaint for NBA fans for years about Major League Baseball is that the regular season is too long. It doesn't mean anything. All that matters is the postseason. And now here we are with the NBA where, I'm not someone who deep dives on media ratings and media chit chatter, but I tagged you in Twitter and you were like, what? The ratings for Major League Baseball are through the roof right now. And the ratings for the NBA are in the toilata. So I don't know what that says. I don't know if it says that people that were watching are turned off by all the political stuff for the last year. I'm not going to speak to that. I'm sure there's some truth to it, but
I definitely.
I've had a hard time watching. I've had a hard time watching NBA regular season with the limited crowds. There's some nice stories. The Knicks being good is a great story. They've won 7 in a row. They're the toast of the league. But you've got all these teams that just seem to have it on autopilot. You got guys making $50 million a year who can't even bother to play 45 games in a 72-game regular season.
I think your average fan has grown up, and they finally realize the NBA regular season doesn't matter.
Yep.
See, the difference is the MLB season definitely matters. Anyone who says it doesn't watch baseball, doesn't understand it, because so few teams make the playoffs. Even if you get to the expansion, which I am for either a 12 or 14 team playoff in baseball, because it would bring in more cities, more interests, more of the you would eliminate that. We ain't got a damn shot in hell. What are we doing here? Right.
You'd only have 5 to 7 teams who are basically don't care after the All-Star break. Everybody else is locked in.
I don't like the idea of 14 because I'm 16. It's too saturated.
It's too many.
You then go, but I do think the expansion of the playoffs in the NBA and the NHL would be a good thing. I like what the NBA is doing. I think the NHL should do. And the reason why is your regular season has just never meant anything, NBA and NHL. It just doesn't. You have to be a diehard fan of that team to even register.
It's regional.
Right.
It's regional. Yep.
Baseball's regional too, but because it's been ingrained into people for years that you watch a nice ball game and it's a different pace. It's a different tempo. They will watch. Your typical Yankee fan is watching 140 plus games a year. They just are. Your typical Braves fan, same thing.
And your diehard baseball fans like myself, the Tigers are not good. I watch the Braves every day, but late at night, I'm putting the Angels on. I'm putting the Dodgers on. I'm putting the Padres on. What
the NBA did that has been the death of them is that years and years and years ago, they made it not about the team. They made it about the players, right?
Sure.
And so people have become fans of just players. And a lot of fans were turned off by what the players
team erosion.
did.
Yep.
Right.
Team erosion.
They were turned off by what the players did. So you went from these are our stars. We want you to watch basketball because you like Larry Bird and Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan, and the list goes on and on and on, to what you have now. LeBron James is not likable. He's just, nobody likes that guy. On any walk, even NBA fans, people who don't care about politics, they're like, oh, what a puke. Nobody likes him.
Jamel Hill loves him.
Nobody likes Jamel Hill. I mean, that's peas in a pod.
I did that just to needle you. That's just me.
Does Jamel
you will never hear me defend her. She was a writer for the Detroit Free Press. She attacked people all the time. She was a terrible journalist when she was a writer, and I'm not a fan.
She's a gaslighter. That's all she's ever been.
She's a gaslighter.
Gaslight, gas bag. But that's what happened to the NBA.
Yep.
Fewer and fewer people are tuned into it, and the people that I know that were diehard NBA fans, they don't watch it anymore because they're just so. That was the double-edged sword. Baseball still continues, just like football continues, to push the team brand, not the player brand. And I think it's a much safer way to go because you don't know what kind of jackass you're going to deal with. When you're pushing the player brand, You had a rough stretch there when old AI was kicking in Philly. A lot of people didn't like him. So that's the issue, that why those ratings are so bad. And it's not helping the fact that everyone knows, like, God, we should just get to the playoffs. It's a different, and I'll tell you something else that hurt their sport too, because we have to move on. The lack of defense has made it very unwatchable. No one likes to watch them just run up and just chuck threes. It's extremely boring to me.
3-point shooting in a free throw contest. It's tough.
I try to watch it, and the game's on the line. The Celtics have the ball. And the best player on the Celtics team, Jason Tatum, will do a fadeaway three down by 2 with 6 seconds left before he would ever think about driving to the damn hole, try to draw a foul. But if they get out of your way, you're going to tie the game up. So that's where they lost everybody. I think the other ones that have a chance to sneak in the door to get fans is the NHL. The NHL has an opportunity here.
When it comes back to ESPN, I'm going to be curious to see how much more national attention they get, because that's going to be a big deal.
They just have to make sure when they go to ESPN that ESPN doesn't let them brand them with political junk, that they just do the sport. You know,
I don't think Batman will go for that. So
right,
but we'll see.
When you get in bed with Disney, that's the problem.
Yep, that's true.
So AL Central, real quick before we have to jump off. What's your takes on what's going on so far?
So the one thing I'm going to mention really quick, because I know we're short on time, is I was a little bullish on the Twins coming into the season, and a lot of people were bearish. I think yourself included were a little more bearish on the Twins and didn't see it. And so far, it's not looking great for me, because the things that you worried about for that team, you got an old Josh Donaldson, you got an old Nelson Cruz, Miguel Sano's never hit consistently. Where are the runs going to come from? And if they're not scoring runs, you know, that puts a lot of pressure on Maeda and Barrios. And here we are, they're 6-10 in the first 16 games. I mean, we could wake up tomorrow morning if the, Tigers beat the Pirates in both halves of the doubleheader and the Twins lose to the Athletics. The Twins are in last place by a full 2 games tomorrow morning, which is, it's early, but it's bad.
And I'll be honest with you, I'm pulling against them. I don't want the Twins in it because I'm sick and tired of watching the Twins not being able to win a damn playoff game.
I agree with you. The Royals have been a nice surprise. I've enjoyed watching them. I know they got thumped yesterday, but I think it's going to be, I think it might be White Sox Royals.
1991, Lonnie Smith was pushed off the damn bag.
Yeah, he was, by Kent Herbeck. Never forget it. Never forget. Never forget, Braves country. That's my take on the Central for the week. It's going to be an interesting week in the Central, because there's a lot of play going on this week, where teams in the Central are playing pretty tough teams. You got the White Sox and Indians against each other, who suddenly really don't like each other. So I didn't know that was a thing, but they've been pushing and shoving and throwing inside pretty much every game this year. So we'll see what happens. See what happens to Rodon. He's scheduled to start, I think, again tomorrow.
I just got the wrap it up from the powers that be. On turn back time, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
Time on this date in 2012, only the 21st perfect game was thrown by, of course, who else? Philip Humber of the Chicago White Sox. As the perfectos, the Seattle Mariners. Is it a perfect game if you do it against the Mariners? Just like, is it a no-hitter when you're at home against the Pirates? I don't know, Joe Musgrove. Also on this date, Atlanta shortstop Rafael Furcal ties a major league record, which was previously done by White Sox outfielder Lance Johnson in 95, hitting 3 triples in one game. The previous Braves player to hit 3 baggers in one contest was Danny O'Connell, who accomplished that feat in 1956. I remember this, and I also go back to, I don't remember the exact year. I feel like it was around this time. It might have been closer to 2001. When you and I and Billy went down to watch the Braves play the Mets and then the Reds the next day, was that 2002? I feel like that
sounds about right. It was after 9/11. I remember that much, but
outside of some of the other funny stories we've told, the biggest thing I remember from that was during the Mets game, Furcal hit a triple. Cell phones were still kind of new at the time, and I remember my cell phone rang, and I was getting a beer, and Billy was getting whatever he was getting. So we weren't sitting next to each other, and I had just seen the triple. I'd kind of stopped me in my tracks, and my phone rings, and I get a damn, and I was like, "What?" He goes, "Did you just see Furcal?" Because he had never seen him, right? He goes, "That guy never touched the ground." Like, that kid could scoot. Oh, and by the way, MLB The Show, can you give Ozzy Albies more than a 67 speed rating? What the hell is that crap? They do this every year. Their speed ratings are terrible. They're terrible.
Needs work, boys.
I also traded or dropped NCRT off the team because his speed rating was less than Freddie Freeman.
That actually might not be wrong.
A center fielder slower than Freddie Freeman. Get the hell out of here. Birthdays. There we go. Happy birthday, man, oh man. Say it ain't so. 64th birthday for Jesse Orozco. Of course, he pitched for the Dodgers and Orioles, but I'll always remember him from the 86 Mets team. At the time, him and in that time period, it was him and it was Dennis Eckersley were like the elite closers in baseball. Also, a somber note, Ken Caminiti would have been 58 years old today.
Sad story.
Sad story. And happy 41st birthday to everyone's favorite broadcaster. No, not me or Sean. Tony Romo. 41st birthday. He seems like he should be older. Maybe it's just because he drones on and on. Sean, what is your walk-off for the day, sir?
My walk-off for today is go get 2 Tigers playing the Pirates. One of the few franchises sadder than you. Get that doubleheader, man. Get that doubleheader.
I got screwed up. I picked up Fulmer because he's pitching twice, and then he doesn't pitch yesterday, so he's pitching today. So hopefully he does well, and then I'll start pitching for him.
He looked fabulous against the Astros in his last start. He's 2 years removed from Tommy John, so hopefully this is the year for him.
Well, I saw clips of that, and then I was like, he's playing the Pirates. I mean, if he's going to dominate anyway, he's going to dominate. That might be the worst offense in baseball. There's only Colin Moran is the only guy I know on the Pirates offense. My walk-off is today we've got the Braves Yankees, obviously a big one, but on the NBA front, as we get closer and closer, if you are looking for a good game to watch tonight, it's NBA TV. It's 7 p.m. Eastern, so you may or may not get that channel. But no one is talking about the Phoenix Suns, and the Phoenix Suns are in the 76ers or at the 76ers. That should be a hell of a ball game.
That should be awesome.
But no one's talking about the Suns. Probably because nobody's talking about the NBA. We'll see you tomorrow. Great job, Sean. And have a great, was this Wednesday? Hump Day.
Goodbye, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on these CBS Sports affiliates and catching the show on YouTube Live. We're here weekdays, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. Find Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live today. Please subscribe and share and take us everywhere you go. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for Southern sports talk, live from the First Coast.
Gonna get another cigarette.